The views expressed on the Warren and Bradley Show are not necessarily those held by the hosts, Warren and Bradley, nor those of the proprietors of the website, warrenandbradley.com.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fire!
Let's make some magic.
It is magic time. Hello, and welcome once again to the Warren and Bradley Show. I am one of your hosts, Bradley Victor.
And I'm the other host, Warren.
Welcome to episode 30. We're recording on Father's Day, actually.
Yes.
Of 2012. Hey there, Warren.
How you doing?
Nice of you to show up.
Well, I was a little late for the recording session this evening. We had to push back our usual recording time to about 7 in the evening because we both had Father's Day activities.
Exactly.
The way I live my life, I can't ever remember anything. I'm constantly just like writing notes on my hands, posting Post-it notes everywhere, trying to remind me of anything I need to do. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, when I arranged this recording time with you the other day, I thought about putting a note in my iPod. I thought about writing some stuff down, and I just assumed it wouldn't be a problem. So I get back from my Father's Day gathering. I end up watching a basketball game. I'm just relaxing there, and I get a text message from you asking where I am.
I was sitting here forlorn by myself.
It's the story of my life.
It got to be about, 7:30.
Yeah.
I was like, ETA. And then he's like, damn it.
And then
so basically, if someone wanted to, they could go into the reminder section on your iPhone and just write a bunch of weird shit, and you would just start showing up places.
No,
and
it's not a fact.
doing...
It's the fact that I just can't remember things.
You remember, but you need a prompt.
I need a prompt. Like, I remember everything.
Yeah.
But I need to. But if I have something lined up to do later that day, or something at work, someone goes like, "Oh, can you do this in 2 hours?" I go, okay, I have to stop what I'm doing, go over and write something down and like post it on my computer screen at work, or else I will not remember to do it.
It's very strange.
It's been a problem my entire life. When I was a child, I used to be at home and my mom would go do something. She'd be like, clean out the dishwasher. And I go, no problem. I don't mind cleaning out the dishwasher. And she'd leave and she'd come back a couple hours later, reeking of drink. No, that's not true. That's not true at all. But she'd come back and she'd be like, why isn't the dishwasher cleaned out? It's not that I was too lazy about cleaning the dishwasher out. It was just that it never occurred to me to clean the dishwasher out. It went in one ear and out the other. And as soon as she said that, I was like, yes, I was supposed to do that. But I can't remember.
I wonder if maybe this is some kind of weird psychological block you've placed up in your mind so you don't have to do anything unless
possible.
you write it down.
Well,
so it started at a young age. Your mom is like, clean out the dishwasher, clean your room. And then you've developed this strange crutch where you say that you can't actually remember it unless you write it.
But the thing is,
I remember you used to have weird pieces of string on your finger.
Yes.
Which said nothing. It didn't say what it was that you were supposed to do. But it was a prompt of some sort.
And I always have like letters written on the back of my hand. Like there'll be an N back there. Most of the time I'll remember what that N means. A lot of times I'll be like, oh crap, and I'll forget. But
to yell epitaphs at black people or something?
Yeah, exactly. But I have to... my sister texted me about this Father's Day gathering, and she said, oh, can you bring some potato salad? Mm-hmm. And I was like, no problem, I'll take care of that. Put a bunch of notes everywhere.
Were you going to make potato salad?
No, I went to the store, bought a 4-pound bucket of potato salad. I was like, this will take care of it. And put a bunch of notes everywhere about bringing the potato salad to my dad's. Before I was going to go to my dad's, I took the potato salad out, put it in front of the door, and put my wallet on top of it.
So you would have to trip over
So I'd have to trip over the potato salad to forget it, because I will forget it. There's no way I'll remember it. And I did get the potato salad there. I did not remember to come and record this podcast, unfortunately.
That's very interesting.
It's a horrible affliction.
You would think that this would be such an important part of your life that you would be just dead set on making sure that you arrive.
Well, the strange thing is that because I have these horrible memory problems, I've never not paid a bill on time. I've never not returned a movie on time.
Because you have to be organized.
Because I have to put all these notes everywhere, and I have to organize my life in a way that I can remember these things.
Yeah.
So I usually just remember everything. For some reason, the other day, I just decided, oh, it won't be a problem. This won't be a problem for me tonight. I'll just walk right over. I'll remember no problem. But it's a humbling experience. It reminds me of who I am.
See, that's the odd thing about you, is that you remember very strange, esoteric, completely useless things that you read quite easily. But see, I'm kind of, well, I wouldn't say I'm the opposite, because I remember a lot of bullshit too, but I am very good at remembering, like, someone will just mention something like, oh, this is going to happen. And
Yeah.
I'll remember. I might ignore it, but I'll still remember it. So I can't really use that as an excuse. Like, if somebody says, I don't know, invites me to a party or something, and then they ask me, oh, you didn't show up, and I can't, well, I do say that I just forgot, but that's not
you
true.
say it, but it's like, if I...
It's a lie.
Somebody will invite me to a party, let's say next weekend, and be like, oh, come to this party. Or our friend, I believe, our friend's band is performing this next weekend.
Oh, yeah.
I think I saw something on Facebook about that pop up. I was like, oh, maybe I'll go to see that. But there's no way in hell I'll remember.
Give a plug? That's Sean.
Sean, who yelled at the person at the movie theater.
I watched Prometheus last weekend. They'll be playing at
not in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Not in Scottsdale, Arizona. Not with Groupus McCain and Rob Rousers. Is it going to be at Shakedown?
I believe they're playing at the Shakedown on Saturday or something, maybe. I'm not that specific. I know there's a show.
Okay.
But if that day rolls around, I'll be at home probably watching a basketball game or reading a book, and then maybe someone like you or someone else I know will text me, be like, you want to go to the show or something? I'll be like, oh, yeah, I'll go.
Right.
But just independent of anyone else, there's no way I would remember that was happening.
It's kind of a free way of living your life, in a way.
It's actually very stressful because you have to because there are a lot of things
that you have to do.
Yeah, in our life, the way we live, in our society, there are a lot of things that you have to remember to do at certain times throughout the week. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have the capacity to do that, it makes things very hard.
What about, like, urinating and wiping your ass?
The things I do
like
every single... Like, I get to work on time every day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I have to do that every day.
I just imagine you sitting in a room, oh, I forgot to eat today. Or your girlfriend knocking on the door asking if you've slept because you forgot to lay down and go to bed because you didn't have a note.
Well, this is the other thing about this whole situation this evening. Girlfriend's out of town.
Oh.
So this wouldn't have happened if she was around.
She would have been like, aren't you recording with
when you get back from recording, I would have been like, I wouldn't have acknowledged that she had reminded me, but I would have been like, yes, when I get back from recording, I'll drop by your house or something. You know what I mean?
Well, and I think normally I would probably have sent you something in advance, like, hey, we're still on for this time, or we're going to, and then you would have gone.
That would have prompted me probably, and it would have like helped. But it's a difficult challenge.
It just went totally blank. I was about to say something. So you're talking about memory.
That was weird because
this is the thing this is my problem.
Yeah.
Like I will walk up to somebody with whom I've had multiple conversations, somebody who has been involved in like major aspects of my life, and I might just forget their name.
Yeah.
Or forget who they are. I mean, I know them. I just have no access to that information, and it won't come to me.
Yeah, because I get that situation sometimes too, where you like see somebody and you're like, oh, it's somebody's girlfriend, or that's that person I met last week, and you see them, and the like name doesn't come to you instantly.
Well, I have a weird way of discarding information, and sometimes it's very insulting to people because, I mean, there have been people I've dated before, and I don't remember them.
That's weird.
Yeah. Or maybe I remember who they are, but I don't remember the circumstances of the things we've done in the past, and they'll mention something about what we've done. We'll just have no memory of this whatsoever.
Okay, we have this much in common, because I have this situation too, in the sense that, I don't know, people put a lot more emphasis on certain like things they have going on in their life that they find very important to them.
Yeah.
And it's just like another thing that happened, and I can like remember a series of things happening with certain people, but I can't remember like specific instances.
Well, usually if somebody prompts me about a certain story or some incident, I will remember. But there have been cases where it's just complete blank. It'll be like actually dating someone, sleeping over at their house. Like, oh, remember when we went and we had dinner at this restaurant and then you came over, and I'll be like, ew. And some part of me is wondering, is that really even me? Are you the one fucking up and accusing me of being your boyfriend when I was never your boyfriend?
Well, that's possible, right? No, you wouldn't recall it if that was true.
Well, obviously, but I mean, how many people go around and remember when we dated? And you're like, no. I mean, that's just a very odd thing to do, but...
Yeah, it is. I was speaking with somebody the other day about high school yearbooks. Mm-hmm. And I had mentioned the fact that in one of my yearbooks, there's like a panel on the side that mentions the question, what would you do if there were no consequences? What's the one thing you would do if there were no consequences? And in the yearbook, in one of our yearbooks in high school, mm-hmm. It says, I would shove an apple up my ass.
Really?
I have no recollection of saying that. I think it's very odd that the yearbook committee put that in the yearbook.
Yeah, I think maybe they're just trying to fuck up your reputation more.
I didn't even have a reputation to fuck up. No recollection of ever saying anything about putting an apple up my ass. It must have just been some throwaway comment, and there it was. in print forever in the Bellingham High School yearbook.
Well, all I can say is if we're like this now, I can only imagine what it's going to be like when we're in our 70s or 80s.
I know, it doesn't bode well, does it? I've thought about that a little bit.
The aging process.
Well, the aging process, yeah. Yeah, the fact that, like, how am I going to remember to get to, like, my dialysis appointments in my 80s if I can't remember to come podcast now in my 30s?
Can you imagine yourself in extreme old age?
Yeah.
Is that something that you can actually visualize? You can think of what your life might be like? Because I have a lot of trouble even imagining that, yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
I think maybe people just, as things slowly degrade, you get used to things.
Yes.
And if suddenly me being healthy and vital and full of vim and vigor
This
like
is
I
you
am
now?
right now.
Yeah, exactly.
If suddenly I were like 86 and, had a colostomy bag and was like hobbling around with a little cane, if it were a sudden transition, I
Next
think I would
day,
just
yeah.
immediately throw myself in front of a commuter bus. But
Yeah.
maybe it's like, the whole boiling a frog in the water.
Well, it is. But I think that if 18-year-old Brad was suddenly turned into 34-year-old Brad right now, you would be able to feel a dramatic change, too.
I don't know. I think it would be the change would be better.
You think you'd physically feel better?
I think so.
No, I think you're much more spry when you're 18. There's no way you can be
think
more
so.
spry when you're in your mid-30s.
I was pretty sedentary when I was 18. I'm way more active physically now than I was when I was 18.
But you're also a smoker.
Yeah, but I'm a weird smoker. In that every other smoker I've ever known, well, I don't know if I want to call out particular individuals, but a family member of mine
Yes.
who smokes probably even less than I do is often like... all the time, like seems to get winded very easily.
Yes.
And I'm still like running around, like I don't get out of breath. I don't have horrible coughing fits in the mornings. I don't have giant things of phlegm in my throat or anything.
We'll play this tape for you in 20 years.
Well, that's the thing. If I had all those symptoms, I would be like, okay, I feel awful. I don't want to smoke anymore.
yeah.
Because there are people I know who are just like, oh, God, while they're smoking
Yes.
a cigarette. I'm like, okay, why are you doing that?
You got to
That's
stop at that
horrible.
point, right? If it's having
Yeah.
that kind of like deleterious effect that's so immediate.
I remember IT guy John was always flabbergasted by my lung capacity. We would go swimming together and we would swim underwater and see how long the two of us could swim underwater. And I would always be like double, triple the amount of time he could.
Well, the thing about IT guy John is the fact that he can't handle a cigarette. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It makes him dizzy and he wants to like collapse. I don't know what goes on with his like
He does get very high. He'll take
his
one
chemistry,
puff and be
yeah.
like, ooh, I'm frying. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
And he doesn't feel so well sometimes after he does
Yeah.
it. Yet anytime someone like brings one out and they're like, IT guy John, would you like a cigarette? He's sort of like, and I always look at him like, come on, buddy, you know what happens. You can't handle this. You can't handle your buzz when
Yeah.
you get these cigarettes in your mouth. He still goes for it.
That is a sad thing about smoking. It's the first cigarette. It's never the same. I guess maybe if you quit for like a year or something and then you had one again. But I remember the first time I inhaled a cigarette, I was like, oh, flying around my dorm room listening to like, I don't know, a Radiohead CD or something. It's like, oh my God, I'm high. I've never felt like that again.
I have never felt like that. I don't think when I first started smoking at all, was smoking properly.
Yeah.
So I think that may have been a problem.
That always bugs me when somebody borrows a cigarette from you and then you see them just kind of mouth the tip and they'll just go and take little puffs. They don't inhale
More
anything.
like a cigar smoking situation.
Sort of. And then they'll smoke, well, they don't even smoke about half of it and then throw it to the ground and grind it out.
Like,
and
that has value.
This very like ostentatious, like,
Yeah.
"Ooh, look what I just did." It's like, come on.
Come on.
Use the damn cigarette.
The tobacco farmers in North Carolina put a lot of work into that cigarette, and you paid a lot of taxes.
Yeah, I did.
Although I know you acquire many of your cigarettes in another nation.
I do. The
A native nation, that is, yes, which allows you to avoid some taxes.
They
or-
don't have to charge the state taxes, but I think they still have to charge the federal taxes.
Really?
But they charge way more than they need to anyway because they can.
Yes.
I mean, they realize that it's still way cheaper than buying it in the US of A. And so
So you think this is common? A lot of people go out there and do that?
I don't know why they don't, if they don't. But I know a lot of people who buy a pack a day. They'll just be at the...
Well, they think they're going to quit the next day, probably.
I don't know.
It's that
like-
mentality.
Well, maybe it is. It's always that thing of like they'll go and be paying like $8.95 for a pack of
Yes.
cigarettes at a mini market. I'm like, why don't you go to the reservation and get a carton? It's almost half the price. If I had a carton, I would just smoke them all. I'm like, you're going to smoke them anyway. As
Yes.
soon as you're out of cigarettes, you go buy another pack of cigarettes. It's just this weird lying to themselves bullshit where they don't even, I don't know.
This Indian reservation system we have is just making people like drive more than they should, you
Yeah.
know? We're going way out of our way to go gamble.
I think technically, I want to say, because I know when you buy fireworks on the Indian reservation, because you can get those, the M80s,
Yes.
and bottle rockets and all the good stuff, that you're supposedly not supposed to take them off
No.
the reservation.
No.
I think maybe it's supposed to be the same with the cigarettes.
I assume that you're probably evading taxes
Yeah.
doing this. And so I don't think any prosecutor's going to come after you anytime
Well,
soon.
yeah,
but
so you go out there and buy a fifth of Jack Daniels and a carton of cigarettes, and you're expected to drink the whiskey and smoke all the cigarettes there on the Indian reservation,
it's not a good system.
which most people on the Indian reservation do. But I had a Native American gentleman approach me today asking for change after I'd had Sunday brunch with my father. Told him I'd just eaten, so then he started going, "If I'd just eaten, I'd go like this." And he started tapping his belly really hard.
That's good.
And he kept doing it until he went, ugh, like he had just knocked the wind out of himself.
You shouldn't actually do that.
And then he kind of just looked ashamed and stuff.
If you eat a lot, you shouldn't do it either.
No.
The padding is just like a nice padding to be like, oh, look, my belly's full. But it's
Well, it
soft
doesn't
and
actually
gentle.
serve a physiological purpose.
No, it doesn't.
It's not like you're burping
not
a baby
packing
in
it down,
reverse or something.
Or you're not packing a cigarette.
No.
No. You're just like going like, oh, this is full. And you give it a little bit like, look at me. I'm patting my tummy.
It's a demonstrative gesture to show other people that you've been well fed. So it is Father's Day today.
Yes, it is.
Did you do anything special for your old dad there?
I showed up at my sister's house with potato salad. We had some hamburgers.
Mm-hmm. So this
Play
is
with the
just
dog.
this is just your siblings and
Yes,
your dad?
my siblings and my brother-in-law and my dad.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about my dad's time in the Army,
Oh, yeah.
which is very interesting, and where he was stationed. My dad's always impressed by the internet because he doesn't have the internet and doesn't know how to work a computer, and has never really touched a computer before.
Yeah.
So anything that goes on the internet is amazing. And he was saying like, oh yeah, he was telling me where he was stationed in the
Germany
Army in
somewhere,
Germany.
right?
Yes. So I was like, oh, here it is. And he's like, wow, you can look down from a satellite image of the town. And I found a YouTube video about his like regiment's squadron that somebody had a video with like music behind it showing the base then and now.
Weird.
And I played it for him and he was like, this is amazing. Because he's like, I remember that. I lived there. He loved the whole thing. And that was my day.
Well,
Yeah. How about you?
we just did the Father's Day brunch. It was good. The whole Father's Day thing, it just seems like the fathers themselves are just kind of meh about the whole thing.
Well, that's the thing about fathers, right? What they want is like peace and quiet and be
Yeah.
left alone.
Yeah, I
It's
think
like,
so.
you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, it was just tacked on as an afterthought. The Mother's Day, we had to have a Mother's Day because
Well,
the
mothers are like, yeah.
You have
that's
to
a big-
acknowledge the fact that I've sacrificed my entire life to raise you children and blah, blah.
Yeah, that kind
all
of
right,
thing.
fine. And so then it's like, oh, we've got the Mother's Day, the dads, we got to get the dads. The dads are like, we don't give a fuck. Don't
Yeah.
give us a day. We don't give a shit.
If I was a father, you were a father, we wouldn't care very much about Father's Day.
I would think Father's Day for me would be, Daddy's going to go somewhere all by himself
Yes.
for the entire day. That's your gift for Daddy.
Because it's not really a gift to like have to like deal with your children all day,
Yeah,
I'd
'cause you have
imagine.
to
If
do
you
that
deal
all
with
the
them
time anyway.
every day, the rest of the year. It's a joy we'll never know.
Well, happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day, fathers. All of you fathers out there. George Washington, the father of our country. I don't know. That's the best father I could come up with.
Yeah.
Happy Father's Day.
Yeah. Happy Father's Day.
So, the other day,
Uh-huh.
I'm at the local grocery store. I was buying some Swedish fish, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And I was behind some people in the self-checkout line. And there were these two younger guys checking out to my right, and this girl was kind of walking in by them, this other younger girl, and they were kind of like talking for a second. And the guys were like, I think they must have been like college athletes because they were talking about sports.
Right.
And they asked her, oh, are you still playing softball? And she was like, no, you know. And they're like, are you still in school? And she was like, nah, not really. And she goes, oh, I'm just a nobody. And then she turns, looks me in the eyes, and goes, no offense. And then she like walked away.
So she had an instinctive knowledge of you, apparently.
I was like, wow. The thing is, I think she was like legitimately trying to like be polite and apologize to me because I was a nobody to her. And she was just like, no offense, you know, I know you're a nobody. You don't play college sports or
Yeah.
anything, or you're not in school right now.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm kind of like you right now.
Did she make the mistake of thinking you were a homeless person again, like often happens?
That does happen quite often, actually. I gotta clean up my act. I probably should get rid of this.
I remember you made the resolution a while ago that you were going to dress up, you're going to wear the shirt and tie.
Yeah, that fell apart pretty fast, didn't it?
Did it ever begin?
It was to a certain degree. Remember, I used to wear a tie A lot.
Occasionally, yeah.
Occasionally I would wear a tie out, and sometimes I was wearing a tie to work occasionally and stuff, and then I lost momentum.
We just need to get you out of the house more, because I've been noticing lately our entire friend group is just completely blah. What was I going to say? 3 sheets of the wind? That means you're drunk.
Yeah, but that's
not what I
drunk.
meant.
I think not.
We're the
3
opposite
sheets
of it.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Scattered like chaff in the wind. Maybe that's what I was looking for. Some stupid metaphor. Anyway, because recently, like there was a while ago where I was completely avoiding human contact because that's something I do every once in a while. And in the past, I would go through my period of avoiding human contact. And then I would be like, okay, I'm ready to be around other humans again. And so I'd be like, hey, and there would be this group of people that I could hang out with afterwards. Yeah. This time I was avoiding human contact, decided I was ready to see humans. Nobody wanted to do shit. Nobody would even respond to me. Everyone's just gone. I don't know what's going on. They've all got boyfriends and girlfriends and weird shit going on.
Okay, I'll tell you this. Let's make an effort this week, and I'm willing to get out there.
You go out. You'll put on your little tie.
I'll put on my tie. I'll have some drinks.
Yeah.
Do something weird.
Good time. Like old days.
Like old days. We'll end up eating
4 months ago or 8 months ago, whatever it was.
In front of a restaurant at 3 o'clock in the morning with a bunch of homeless people. Things like that. Sure, we'll get into that. Yeah.
All right.
We'll report back on this in episode 31, people, and see how it went.
Oh, yeah, we'll be recording right after the momentous occasion, so. I
do remember, we used to occasionally record, like, hungover and stuff. Yeah. That hasn't happened in a long time.
No, I know. I would have these horrible pounding headaches, and just the act of speaking would make me want to throw up, but we would still record the podcast.
All right, people, we guarantee you some action.
It's funny, though, it's like we're in our 40s, and we're talking about, our college days. This was only, like, 6 months ago. It wasn't that long ago.
You're right.
We haven't aged that much since then.
We're on top of it. When will this come out? Thursday?
This will come out Thursday, yeah.
Okay, people, listen to me. It's possible the duo that you enjoy listening to on this podcast will be out and about this weekend, having a raucous time.
This is only for a very small segment of our audience, the ones who live in Bellingham, because most people who listen to us live all but
if you do live a long ways away, you can come up. Yeah. The airport serves as many airports in the region now. Come on up. We'll be out and about. Approach us. Talk to us about the show. We're willing to have a good time. Maybe buy us a drink, whatever. Invite us over to your house. We'll have a good time.
But don't ask us to try to do bits from the show, or don't give us like, I've got a great That's How Women Are Street Freak of the Week, because we get that shit all the time. And it's just, come on.
Yeah, it's really
We're
exhausting.
The professionals here. We're the ones who know how to do this show. We're the ones who format the show. You're the listener for a reason. You can't do what we do.
Because we're professionals.
Oh, yes. Very loose definition of the word professional.
Celebrity Minute on the Warren and Bradley Show.
Yes, indeed. It is Celebrity Minute on the Warren and Bradley Show. Our very first story, a sad story.
Oh, this is news to me. Rodney King, whose beating led to the LA riots, dies. I did not know this happened.
Yes, King was found dead in his swimming pool on Sunday at age 47.
Pool.
Yes, at the bottom of the swimming pool. He had drowned, apparently. Yeah. A neighbor said that she had heard some sort of ruckus coming from his yard. Said that around 3 a.m. she heard music and someone really crying, like deep emotions, like tired or sad, I then heard someone say, "Okay, please stop. Go inside the house." We heard quiet for a few minutes. Then after that, we heard a splash.
What does that mean?
I mean, obviously, that's him jumping into the pool and dying, but...
Wait a second. So he was crying... And then he decided to kill himself, and then he jumped in a pool? That's their theory?
It is unclear as to whether or not he killed himself at this juncture. They're performing an autopsy. Supposedly there were no drug paraphernalia or alcohol paraphernalia around the area. But
when
yes.
people drown themselves, they usually jump into something they can't get out of easily.
Yeah, it seems rather difficult to just force yourself to stay underwater until you die.
I don't know if you can do that.
I don't think you can.
No, I don't think you can just... Because your natural inclination to save yourself will kick in and force you to go above water.
But, as you said, he'd struggled with substance abuse. After the incident in which he was beaten by the cops, he was arrested on multiple other occasions for DUI and drunken disorderly.
Someone that wasn't, prepared for the spotlight, definitely.
Well, and he had the hero mantle thrust upon him, which is ridiculous. He was a victim of a beating. And then
Which, to be fair, I don't think it's anything he ever sought.
No, I mean, it wasn't. Basically, he became the symbol of, race relations and police brutality or excessive use of force. And it wasn't his fault. He did, he was drunk driving and then trying to run from the cops.
Yes.
Did not deserve the beating, obviously,
No.
but nor did he do anything particularly commendable.
Yeah.
The one thing is that when the riots were going full bore, he did, step
Can't
up
we all just get along?
The famous "Can't we all get along" quote.
Which I always thought seemed very legitimate. I don't think he wanted the things to go on that were going on.
Yeah.
He saw that things were out of control, and he was kind of trying to calm the situation down.
But it's sad that old Rodney's dead here. He was only 47 years old, which
Really?
is weird. I guess he was only
must have been
like
young when that happened,
26
wasn't
or
it? Yeah.
27 or something. It's been almost 20 years, I think.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Next story. Now, this one, I have never seen an episode of The Bachelorette. I've never seen an episode of The Bachelor.
Yes.
But I saw this story, and I read it, and I was amused. Because the headline of the story is Bachelorette Emily doesn't trust remaining guys after Kaylin fiasco.
Kaylin?
Apparently, Kaylin was one of the dudes she liked on the show. And she has a 6-year-old child named Ricky.
Yeah, I know people who watch the show, and I've heard about this child.
Apparently, Kaylin referred to her as baggage. And she went off on Kaylin and kicked him off the show. And now she's having trouble trusting any of the other cast members.
I'd like to see that in context, because I wonder if he was like, I'll still love you even though you have baggage.
She
like that.
Sounds kind of like a wench.
I know, but fans of the show have been told that because of this child she has, the show has had to come to her because she didn't want to uproot her child for a lot of the shoots.
Okay, after kicking the 27-year-old luxury brand consultant out for bad-mouthing her daughter Ricky, Maynard brought her remaining bachelors to Dubrovnik, Croatia, but still has her doubts. I'm sorry, the single mom, 26, tells the guys to open her Monday night rose ceremony. I stand here and start to second-guess my decisions. With rose in hand, Maynard looked thoughtfully at her remaining suitors, but something was mysteriously off, and all of a sudden the North Carolina blonde stormed out of the bachelorette mansion. There's a part of me that just doesn't trust them. What else am I missing, she wonders, running to bachelorette host Chris Harrison. Who else in there isn't all about me?
That's a weird quote, too, isn't it? I don't trust anyone that's not all about me, either.
She doesn't take kindly to guys with ulterior motives. I want to go out there and rip his limbs off and beat him with them.
Okay, that seems like an excessive reaction to someone saying a child is baggage, to murder them and beat them to death with their own limbs.
Upon hearing her former suitor will take part in this summer's Bachelor Pad 3, what the fuck is that? Maynard sniped, the fact Kaylin will ever be on any TV show again makes me want to stab my eyeballs out with dull pencils.
Jeez, she's a little hyperbolic. Bachelor Pad, my understanding is it's like ex-bachelorettes and bachelors, or the people who are competing for their affections, in a house living together.
That's great.
Which is just, why wouldn't you make that show?
The thing that I found so amusing about this story was not only the fact that she was screaming about people not being all about her, which, and then accusing all the people on the show of having ulterior motives.
Yeah.
What the fuck does she think is happening on this show? Does she really think that these people are here and they love her and they want to be with her? They're here because they want to be on TV and they want to win the money.
Yeah.
That's the ulterior motive they have. That's the ulterior motive she has.
But the truth is that she's just playing the game too. She's
she?
overreacting to things.
Maybe.
Because that's what she's supposed to do. That's her role.
I've never seen the show, but just reading, I guess I'm reading this as though they're real people.
They're not. I mean, they're all characters.
And they're irritating me, but I guess that works. They're acting for the show. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Lindsay Lohan's new health crisis? What's this?
Oh, Lindsay Lohan. First, she had her non-fatal car accident in her Porsche the other day.
Yeah.
Where drugs were not involved, apparently. We're still believe that. Then, apparently, she was, first it was reported that she was rushed to the hospital after being found unconscious in the penthouse of the Ritz-Carlton in Marina del Rey. But it turns out that she was actually treated at the scene and didn't require hospitalization. She's been doing Liz and Dick.
What the hell's that?
It's the Elizabeth Taylor biopic thing.
Oh, yeah. That's right. You mentioned that last week.
Okay, anyway, she's been filming the Elizabeth Taylor biopic and apparently has had a very just hectic schedule, and so she collapsed from exhaustion in her hotel room, and when producers tried to come and beat on the door to get her to go film, she did not respond, so they called the paramedics and they broke her door down, and then they just checked her out at the scene, said she was fine, said there were no drugs and alcohol, and then left.
Okay, exhaustion is a euphemism that we've been using for decades for being strung out.
Yeah.
on things. Isn't it time we need to like change that euphemism?
If you, as a normal person, went to the hospital and said that you needed to be checked in for exhaustion, they would tell you to go fuck off.
Yes,
or dehydration.
Yeah.
It's always dehydration and exhaustion.
Because I don't want to denigrate what these great actresses and actors do, but there are many millions of people out there in America every day who work very hard all day long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Get up very early and work and work and work and work. Really, do they just collapse and say, I'm suffering from exhaustion? Especially if you have to pretend to be Elizabeth Taylor for a couple hours.
Yeah.
That shouldn't exhaust
It's not
you.
exactly strenuous. Jim.
No, it's not.
Apparently, she did have an overnight shoot previous to this. So, they're dehydrated and exhausted because they've been drinking nothing but alcohol for about, 3 weeks. And their liver has had to pass so much fluid through it that every other bit of fluid in their body has been sucked into their liver and they don't have any
Technically,
left.
they are dehydrated, but that's just one of the symptoms of the underlying issue, which is alcohol abuse.
Yes. I just can't believe we're talking about these idiots.
This is what they want.
I know.
Very popular podcast talking
Well,
about
I'm
their
trying.
issues.
After my disgust with last week's Celebrity Minute, I'm trying to pretend that I care about any of these stories, but I really don't give a flying fuck. We have one more story to wrap up Celebrity Minute. Lucy Lawless, arrested, lives up to her name, faces up to 3 years in jail.
That's your best joke in podcast history.
Legal trouble for the warrior princess.
Lucy Lawless has pleaded guilty to trespassing an oil drilling ship in New Zealand this past February. The Spartacus and Xena warrior princess actress faces up to 3 years in jail for the move, part of a protest with 6 other Greenpeace activists. Apparently, there was a ship chartered by Shell Oil that was going to be going to the Arctic to explore drilling opportunities. Her and some other Greenpeace dirty hippies camped out on the ship, refused to leave. They were finally arrested. It was, I think, in February they were arrested, and they finally went to trial. And she faces up to 3 years, but obviously she won't serve any time, and she gets some sort of slap on the wrist.
Yeah, everyone gets so upset about the Arctic.
Lawless said, "We will continue to stand in solidarity with the communities and species that depend on the Arctic for their lives until Shell cancels its plans to drill in this magical world and makes the switch to clean, sustainable energy."
See, that's what I wonder about, if it's the fact that they're an oil company or the fact they're drilling the Arctic.
It's the fact that they're an oil company.
That's what I think, right? Because if they go up there and they set up a little oil derrick and they go down, they suck the oil out and they pack up their derrick and leave, I don't think it's going to impact the wildlife around there very much.
And the idea that Shell needs to switch to clean, sustainable energy, they're an oil company. Their job is not to put themselves out of business. You might not like the fact that there is oil being sucked forth from the ground, but to ask an oil company to not do what they are supposed to do and what their shareholders expect them to do is kind of ridiculous.
I would say be proactive, Lawless, and get out there and create alternative energy companies. Maybe get in the lab, come up with a better solar panel.
Yeah, because that's the main problem we have right now, is that there really still is no viable alternative. Oil runs the world's economy, and until we find something better, we're stuck with it. And to say that we need to not drill means that we need to not eat and not to have any energy, not have heat, not have lights, not have anything. So you need to come up with something better.
That's the kind of lawless society I don't want to live in.
Oh, there you go. Maybe in the future, Lucy, you can become Lucy Lawful.
It's not bad.
No, not bad.
Rip-roaring end to Celebrity Minute.
This has been Celebrity Minute on the Warren and Bradley Show.
What?
Uh-oh.
It's a bit off, yo.
Oh, Jesus.
It's a motherfucking beat off, yo! It's the Warren and Bradley Show, Beard Off 2012. 2 men enter, only one can emerge victorious, as Warren and Bradley pit one set of whiskers against the other in the ultimate test of follicular fortitude. The rules are simple. No trimming, shaving, pruning, or plucking for one entire month, at the end of which we'll find out who's a man and who's a testosterone-deficient ladyboy.
All right. So last week we. Speaking of not coughing.
Oh, yeah, you don't have any problems. Your lungs are great. You're a young, spry thing. Look at you there.
Shut up, Warren. So last week we brought you the exciting conclusion to Beard Off 2012, where we presented for you the final results of our beard growing extravaganza. We put the pictures up online, and the people have spoken, Warren. I'm sorry to say that I was selected as the winner of the Beard Off 2012.
Crushing. It's so... I was really hoping to win this.
You didn't
and
have
get
a lot
all
of,
the accolades.
you did not have any hope that you were going to win. You said
no, I
up
didn't,
and down
I
that
didn't
you
think
didn't
I was
think you
going
were
to
going
win.
to win.
I noticed that you don't have any facial hair right now.
I shaved today, actually. Well, last
Didn't
night...
you have a mustache? I saw on the Facebook. Didn't you have a mustache?
Yeah,
briefly?
well, last night, right before bed, I was washing my face and again feeling the beard as I was running my fingers through it. And I looked up, and it was much more difficult than I thought it was going to be, because I had somehow grown to love and hate the beard at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
And I got used to seeing myself with it. And so
I never did.
I got the clippers out, and I was like holding it to my face as the teeth were... I was like, okay, maybe I'll just trim it a little bit. And I went... And I trimmed a little too much on one side. I was like, oh, let even it out. And then
Next thing you know,
next thing I know, I had a great mustache going for a while. I was gonna rock it maybe for a day or two, and then I realized I'd probably be tackled and beaten by whoever saw me. But it was like, I shaved the chin, but then I left some good like mutton chop sideburns, shaved underneath, and then just had these weird the mustache went down into these strange teardrop shape under the chin.
Yes.
I call it, it's either like the...
Did it connect under your chin?
No.
Okay,
it did not.
good. That's weird.
It formed this weird kind of walrusy spike under my chin.
Okay.
It was fetching. And I looked sort of like a neo-Nazi or something like that. If I had shaved my head, the look would be complete. So maybe we'll post that picture online for everyone to see.
Oh, yeah, people would love to see that.
But that only lasted for about 5 minutes. And then I trimmed it into this beautiful, maybe Desi Arnaz kind of Cuban mustache, where I shaved in between and then shaved up and shaved down and just had this nice little pencil pointy mustache.
Yeah.
Oh, it was amazing. And I was going to leave that on, and then I just looked at myself again in the mirror and realized that wasn't a good idea.
You wouldn't be able to go outside with that on your face, would you?
Yeah, and then I shaved, and this morning I woke up and... bleary-eyed, went and put my contacts in and then closed my medicine cabinet and went, ah! And it was like a little 10-year-old was staring out at me. It was very strange.
I didn't notice it was gone when I got here for some reason. Until we just started doing the beard off, I was like, oh, yeah, your beard's gone.
You're very observant.
I'm not.
I had over a month's growth of beard on there.
Yeah.
It was like a half inch long.
This is what you normally look like, so you're just back to normal. Every time I saw you with the beard, I noticed the beard right away.
I'm still not used to myself again now. It's literally, that was me for a while with the beard, and that was my face. And because I always thought, got a good jawline, got a good chin, whatever.
Yeah.
But now with the beard gone, I'm like, oh, look at that weak sissy boy chin. He's got no facial structure. Yeah. And I seriously did think of myself as like a 12-year-old when I looked in the mirror. I was like, oh, you're a child.
You gotta put something over these mirrors. You spend too much time in front of these mirrors, I tell you.
But, it's a little better, I guess. I'm glad. There were people, some of the bakery employees seemed quite pleased that I had shaved my beard today when I went in there.
It's a new day in fashion, apparently.
I mean, they didn't say anything specifically. Well, one of them was like, oh, you shave your beard off, in a very happy way.
Oh, a positive.
And I'd gotten comments before like, oh, I like your beard.
In a very sad way.
I think I was letting the team down a little bit with the beard.
I can see that.
Yeah.
My facial hair remains the same.
Yeah, you've gotten to a point, and now it doesn't seem to be doing anything else. It's just kind of
It'll just get thicker.
in a holding pattern.
It'll get a little thicker.
Well, see, your beard, for those of you with eagle eyes, might have noticed that Warren's beard is more curly than mine was. Mine would just grow straight out of my face.
Yeah, that's why it looked weird. It looked like a ballpoint pen. You had drawn the lines on your face.
That's ridiculous, Warren.
You fixed this contest, didn't you?
No, I didn't. But yeah, yours looks a lot more full because it kind of curls in together.
Yeah. It gets a little bit of an afro effect.
I don't know. I learned a lot through the beard off. I'm glad we did it.
I think the listeners probably learned a lot, too.
I think they did, too.
About themselves, about beards, and about us.
About what it means to be a man in today's modern society.
It's rough.
Literally. Yeah.
Oh, you're on a roll today. I don't know what's going on.
So clever. So I was working on this job where there were some children present at the house where I was working. Some of the kids were a little older, so they'd go to school during the day. But there was this one little kid who was there all the time, and of course, being 5 or however old he was mesmerized by the fact that there were people working on something at his house. So he was always there. Like whenever I would turn around, there'd be this little cherub like me just staring. And so after a while, me getting bored, I started just investigating, well, not investigating, but paying attention to his habits of play. Because when we were kids, we used to pretend a lot.
Yes,
we
I
had
remember.
yeah, we had little weird fantasies that were going on, and we'd be running around, and there was this whole world in front of us that nobody else could see. And I've always thought that it seems now that children don't do that anymore because everything
Video games
and movies, and their parents are so involved in everything.
Yeah.
And it's just obnoxious. But this little kid and his brothers and sisters and then some neighborhood kids would come around, and they're just all like running around, and I think they had like fake guns at one point, which I thought had gone the way of the dodo, that you weren't allowed to play with guns anymore. But the problem was that they were pretending, which I enjoyed, but they were playing something that was such a weird mishmash. They were running around talking about the zombie power plant, and they had to get to the zombie power plant, and there were zombies coming. But then at the same time, the zombie cavalry was coming. There's no zombie cavalry. Zombies can't ride horses.
Okay, you're just praising the children for their imagination. Now
Yeah,
these
but they were
children
all
are
fucked up with it. They didn't do it right.
No, wait, I imagine when we were children, maybe some of our fantasies may have not.
No, I was always
zombie
very
portrayals.
detailed about what was happening.
No zombie cavalry.
Well, we
huh?
never talked about zombies when
Zombies
we were
are
kids
bigger
either.
now than they were. When
We had no zombie experience. I think we were right in that window of no zombie because there was all the Romero movies when we weren't even born,
Yes.
and then no zombies, and then suddenly now there's this
zombie
huge zombie
proliferation,
resurgence.
yeah.
But everything they were doing had something to do with zombies. But then they were talking about like, now you're in China, no, now you're in, and they kept skipping countries. Like suddenly the main kid, the ringleader, was just running around and just saying, okay, there's the zombie power plant. Oh, now the zombie cavalry's coming, and everyone was just going along with him. Whereas if I had been there, I'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? First of all, zombies don't ride horses. Yes,
zombie horses.
they can't ride horses. They can't manipulate door handles. They can't do anything.
I feel like I've seen a zombie horse before.
Well, maybe they're zombie horses, but they're not going to have zombie riders on the zombie horse. That just does not make any sense.
No, it doesn't. You're right. I'm sorry.
But that being as it may, I was still somewhat pleased to see these little kids playing. And annoyed, too, because there's nothing more irritating than the sound of kids laughing when you're trying to work.
You'll be like, this will be you in a few years, kid.
Yeah,
Enjoy it while you can.
I do that sometimes, too. I give, like, the scared straight message to kids. Because kids are always impressed by construction work. They're always like, oh, wow, oh, look. And they always like, I want to do that.
Bob the Builder, yeah.
Yeah. And so you always have to be like, I'll rend my shirt a little bit and, like, maybe spray myself down with the hose so I look extra sweaty. And I'll just be like, oh.
That's so weird. You don't want to be like me, kid. Yeah.
But as I was saying, the youngest child was often left alone during much of the day because his siblings would go to school. So he would just sit there staring at me working. And so after a while, I was like, okay, I'll engage this kid in conversation. So I'd be like, how old are you? And he'd hold up his hand. 5.
5.
Like, okay, you're 5. Do you have a dog? Yeah. What's his name? Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Started asking him all these questions. He just kept saying yes. So, of course, that amused me. So I started asking him other questions just to amuse myself because it seemed as though he had no concept of what I was saying. And so I started getting to the, like, yeah, you married? Yeah. Got any kids? Yeah. Yeah, it can be tough, can't it? Yeah. And finally worked my way up to, you ever killed a man with your bare hands? Just choked the life out of him? Yeah. Until finally I heard his mom very sharply from inside the house go, come in here right now. And he ran inside, and then she slammed the door behind him. And I think
and
she had
rightfully
been
so.
listening to everything I was saying.
Yeah, kill the man with your bare hands. Yeah,
but it's not like it made any impression on him. He was just nodding his head to anything I said.
This kid really 5?
Yeah. Well, that he raised his hand and had 5 fingers showing.
Well, he should be able to respond way more than just to say yeah over and over again.
Well, he responded to commands that his mother gave him. So
Come
I think
inside.
I think he had an understanding of the English language. He just was intimidated by me, perhaps, and so he was just in fear, shaking his head yes to everything I said, while I was laughing hilariously.
About killing people? Yes.
Yeah.
Huh. That's weird. It makes me think of Bob the Builder, though.
I have no. I know.
You know
that
what Bob
this
the Builder
exists.
is? He's like, I think it's a cartoon. He's like,
Isn't it English?
it's like books. It might be English.
Yeah,
And
because they
these-
call people
call 'em
builders,
builders, right?
We don't call them that.
But they never show like real construction workers. They don't show you.
Most construction workers are alcoholic, probably a lot of domestic violence, drop out of high school, lots of trouble with the law.
Yes.
Probably lots of other kids from previous relationships.
Yes.
Most of their money goes to child support. Mm-hmm. Can't hold any other kind of job because there's background checks involved with
Yeah.
most other sorts of
So you're getting paid
jobs.
under the table.
They spend all their lives tearing their bodies down for not a whole hell of a lot of money. Yeah.
I don't think these people appear in the Bob the Builder books. Desperate people, just looking to pay some money for the kids they don't love
Often
the mother of
riding
anymore.
bicycles to the job site because they've had so many DUIs that they're not allowed to drive anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
a
too
good
bad.
life.
Yeah, yeah.
It's kind of sad that, I mean, it's something that everyone needs. You need skilled labor. People need homes. People need things built. But you don't get a lot of respect.
No,
Not at
not
all.
really.
I can just see people's faces fall whenever I tell them that I do construction. They're like, oh,
Well, that's just snobbishness, isn't it?
well, yeah.
It's Obama's
But
America.
I understand. Well, yeah. I mean, I understand why they say that or why they think that.
For you. Yeah,
Because they're assholes.
definitely.
It does bug me that somebody who's like a waitress, like, oh, okay, that's fine. You work at a coffee shop and that's better than a skilled laborer, someone who actually knows how to build a fucking house.
Yeah, that doesn't seem very fair, does
That's
it?
weird.
Yeah.
Blue collars.
But
just
again,
look down
that
upon.
all probably has to do with the fact that many of the baristas you interact with on a daily basis aren't riding their bike to the coffee shop because they have too many DUIs and are just, have a bunch of kids spread all over the place.
That is a valid point.
Yes, so you're probably lumped in with those people.
Maybe.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, then. So I think that's all the time we have for this week's Warren and Bradley show.
Yes.
This is Bradley Victor.
And Warren telling you to keep your feet on the ground and your eyes in the stars.
That's right.
I think
Right?
it's closer.
So that's it.
No, it can't be eyes in the stars. Well, we'll look it
Why
up.
can't you have your eyes on the stars?
I think I said eyes in the stars,
Oh,
didn't I?
in them? Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay.
This has been the Warren and Bradley Show, brought to you by Warren Van and Bradley Victor. For podcast news and information, like the show on Facebook at facebook.com/Warren and Bradley. Follow the show on Twitter at Warren and Brad. Subscribe on iTunes and leave a review. For episode archives and episode pictures, go to warrenandbradley.com, and to contact the show, write to podcast at warrenandbradley.com.
And then you've developed this strange crutch where you say that you can't actually remember it unless you write it.
But
'Cause
the
I,
thing is-
I remember you used to have weird pieces of string on your finger.
Yes.
Which said nothing. It didn't say what
But it was
that
a
you were
prompt
supposed
of
to
some
do.
sort. And
But
I always have
somehow-
like letters written on the back of my hand. Like
Yeah.
there'll be an N back there. Most of the time I'll remember what that N means. A lot of times I'll be like, oh crap, and I'll forget. But
to yell epitaphs at black
yes,
people or something.
yeah, exactly. But I have to. My sister texted me about this Father's Day gathering, and she said, "Oh, can you bring some potato salad?" Mm-hmm. And I was like, "No problem, I'll take care of that." Put a bunch of notes everywhere.
Were you going to make potato salad?
No. I went to the store, bought
Okay.
a 4-pound bucket of potato salad. I was like,
Okay.
this will take care of it. And put a bunch of notes everywhere about bringing the potato salad to my dad's. Before I was going to go to my dad's, I took the potato salad out, put it in front of the door, and put my wallet on top
So
of
you
it.
would have to trip over
So I'd
it
have to trip over the potato salad to forget it, because I will forget it. There's no way I'll remember
No.
it. And I did get the potato salad there. I did not remember to come and record this podcast,
That's
unfortunately.
very interesting.
It's a horrible affliction.
The views expressed on the Warren and Bradley Show are not necessarily those held by the hosts, Warren and Bradley, nor those of the proprietors of the website, warrenandbradley.com.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fire!
Let's make some magic.
It is magic time. Hello, and welcome once again to the Warren and Bradley Show. I am one of your hosts, Bradley Victor.
And I'm the other host, Warren.
Welcome to episode 30. We're recording on Father's Day, actually.
Yes.
Of 2012. Hey there, Warren.
How you doing?
Nice of you to show up.
Well, I was a little late for the remember things.
You remember, but you need a prompt.
I need a prompt. Like, I remember everything.
Yeah.
But I need to. But if I have something lined up to do later that day, or something at work, someone goes like, "Oh, can you do this in 2 hours?" I go, okay, I have to stop what I'm doing, go over and write something down and like post it on my computer screen at work, or else I will not remember to do it.
It's very strange.
It's been a problem my entire life. When I was a child, I used to be at home and my mom would go do something. She'd be like, clean out the dishwasher. And I go, no problem. I don't mind cleaning out the dishwasher. And she'd leave and she'd come back a couple hours later, reeking of drink. No, that's not true. That's not true at all. But she'd come back and she'd be like, why isn't the dishwasher cleaned out? It's not that I was too lazy about cleaning the dishwasher out. It was just that it never occurred to me to clean the dishwasher out. It went in one ear and out the other. And as soon as she said that, I was like, yes, I was supposed to do that. But I can't remember.
I wonder if maybe this is some kind of weird psychological block you've placed up in your mind so you don't have to do anything unless
possible.
You write it down.
Well,
so it started at a young age. Your mom is like, clean out the dishwasher, clean your room.
Recording session this evening. We had to push back our usual recording time to about 7 in the evening because we both had Father's Day activities.
Exactly.
The way I live my life, I can't ever remember anything. I'm constantly just like writing notes on my hands, posting Post-it notes everywhere, trying to remind me of anything I need to do. And for some reason, when I arranged this recording time with you the other day, I thought about putting a note in my iPod. I thought about writing some stuff down, and I just assumed it wouldn't be a problem. So I get back from my Father's Day gathering. I end up watching a basketball game. I'm just relaxing there, and I get a text message from you asking where I am.
I was sitting here forlorn by myself.
It's the story of my life.
It got to be about, I don't know, 7:30.
Yeah.
And I was like, ETA. And then he's like, damn it.
And then
so basically, if someone wanted to, they could go into the reminder section on your iPhone and just write a bunch of weird shit, and you would just start showing up places.
No,
and
it's not a fact.
doing...
It's the fact that I just can't.
You would think that this would be such an important part of your life that you would be just dead set on making sure that you arrive.
Well, the strange thing is that because I have these horrible memory problems, I've never not paid a bill on time. I've never not returned a movie on time.
Because you have to be organized.
Because I have to put all these notes everywhere, and I have to organize my life in a way that I can remember these things.
Yeah.
So I usually just remember everything. For some reason, the other day, I just decided, oh, it won't be a problem. This won't be a problem for me tonight. I'll just walk right over it. I'll remember, no problem. But it's a humbling experience. It reminds me of who I am.
See, that's the odd thing about you, is that you remember very strange, esoteric, completely useless things that you read quite easily. But see, I'm kind of, well, I wouldn't say I'm the opposite because I remember a lot of bullshit too, but I am very good at remembering. Like, someone will just mention something like, oh, this is going to happen. And I'll remember. I might ignore it, but I'll still remember it. So I can't really use that as an excuse. Like, if somebody says, I don't know, invites me to a party or something, and then they ask me, oh, you didn't show up, and